AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV Spartacus After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV Spartacus After Show.
All right. Oh yeah, everybody. Bing is for doing, and here we are doing another amazing AfterBuzz TV After Show for your favorite show. That's Spartacus. That's right. So, I'm your host, Sean O. Unfortunately, Spicy Mari, she is off tonight. She is out chilling somewhere tropical. If you want to find her... Yeah, sad face. So if you want to find her, go ahead and look at her tweets at spicy_Mari. You can also find her at... spicy_Mari on Twitter. Excuse me, that was Twitter already. On Instagram.
Sean, you can play with her Twitter. You got to get it right.
Yeah, you can play with her Twitter. Hey, I'm not Spicy Mari. I can't say that stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't want to encourage other people to play. I don't want to take responsibility for saying play with Spicy Mari's Twitter.
So true. That is true.
My wife might be watching right now.
Uh-oh, mine too. All right, never mind.
You're married? I didn't know you were married, Martin.
Yeah. But let's get to it.
Oh, right on, man. Okay, yeah, but I didn't. Okay. So, anyway, yeah, you can, of course, just hit us up on Twitter, of course, at AfterBuzz TV and Facebook.com/AfterBuzzTV. And for those of you who want to call in, 424-256-1729, and we might have one of my Twitter followers call in this evening. So anyway, let's get to it, man. This was an amazing episode. Lots of fight scenes, big things that happened. Crassus and Spartacus separate their forces. So they end up moving, beyond, well, one heads for the Alps, the other ones go for Rome. We'll talk more in depth about that. Also, we had Caesar get raped by Tiberius. Who would have saw that coming? Oh my goodness. Martin, did you
That was not cool. Once those two big guys held him down, I was like, oh no, dude, what is about to happen?
I thought they were gonna maybe behead him or cut off a limb, but not that. Jeez, that was worse than doing that stuff.
Apparently it's a sign of power or something. I don't know, but I was like, oh, that's the worst way to probably humiliate him.
Yeah, it is, and that's pretty much what they do in prisons, right?
I guess. I don't know. I've never been.
Neither have I, but I studied that stuff. And lastly, Crassus freaking dies, man. Oh gosh.
I saw that coming. Like, I think we all knew he was gonna die.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of when, but I wasn't mentally prepared for it.
Yeah, I think, man,
It was rough.
It wasn't a very honorable death too, but I'll talk about that more a little bit later. So pretty much, the rundown of the episode is, the big things that happen, obviously. The forces get separated. At first, there's a little bit of hesitation there. Spartacus and Crassus, they have a big powwow. And actually, there's a conversation that happens between Crassus and Spartacus when Agron and Gannicus leave the room. And they're like, and pretty much Spartacus says, hey man, like, I don't want to oppress you like the Romans did. You have the freedom to forge your own path, so go ahead and do it, And man, this is really, I really want to talk about actually a lot of things that happened this episode, but I'm all just like, let's start off with the rebels. Okay, so one's going for the rebels leave the mountains, and there was an excellent and well done battle scene once again. And the coolest part actually of this fight scene, like right in the beginning of the episode, was Gannicus pouncing onto a horse-bound Roman. And I thought that was really cool, really well done fight scene there. They always do these so well. with all the Martin, were you gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say that's funny that you said the Gannicus thing because I noticed that too. I was like, did he just jump off the ground onto that guy? I was like, that was amazing. Gannicus is awesome.
Yeah, man, that guy's a skilled warrior. So we jump a little bit forward. The rebels extract some intel from one of the Romans. I think they get a number. I kind of missed it, but they get a number of either the amount of Roman legions or maybe the location or something like that. We jump ahead a little bit. Metellus is demanding an audience with Crassus. They meet together, and Tiberius is shocked. It seems like he's shocked that Sinuessa and Valley was supposed to be promised to him, but it's actually being promised to Metellus. Man, that was like a big shocker to me. But you know what? He deserves it because that guy is he's a little turd, and he shouldn't get a whole city to himself. Crassus actually ends up beating the crap out of Metellus. And that was, we have a caller. So let's, this is probably one of my Twitter followers. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Roxanne, and I'm calling from Woodville, Michigan.
Hi, Roxanne. How's it going? So what's your question?
Well, you know what? How they gonna kill Gannicus?
Say that again?
Hello?
Yeah.
Is Gannicus gonna get killed?
Oh, are you asking me if Gannicus is going to get killed?
Yes.
Okay, you know what? That is a really good question. I feel like, if you're asking my personal opinion, I didn't read in history. I'm sure Gannicus did die in history, actually, during the Servile Wars. However, it's a TV show, it's fiction. The way that Gannicus has been going about during this entire series, actually, it feels to me like he might be able to survive this. I think that Spartacus, all the other commanders are going to be falling around him, but Gannicus may be the one who gets out of there because he's like the black sheep of the group. You know, he kind of is leaning, I'm not sure, I like Spartacus, and I'm definitely not going with Crixus, but he doesn't want to be a leader, so maybe that's what's going to spare him.
Right, because I am still outdone about Crixus.
Oh.
I can't believe that he died off like that.
I know, Roxanne. The worst part about it was such a dishonorable death, and he was so thrilling in battle, and he gave his speech so well and so passionately, and just like Caesar said, he is a man filled with passion, but to be flanked and attacked from the side pretty much by Tiberius, one of the most dishonorable Romans, and then to be stabbed in the back by him as well, that was just awful, right?
Yes, I'm still so baffled. I mean, because I just didn't even anticipate him dying, not like that.
I know, not like that. I thought it was going to be Crassus or somebody else, but thank you so much for your call, Roxanne. Anyway,
and thank you, but please, whatever they do, I don't want Gannicus to die, or Spartacus, but I love Gannicus.
I know. Thank you so much for your call, Roxanne. So it would be a shocker for me if Spartacus didn't die, because historically he does die.
Spartacus is dying. Spartacus is gonna die. There's no buts about this or about that.
Exactly. There's no way he's gonna get around that. He can't cheat history.
But I agree with you, Sean. I think Gannicus is gonna be the only one that gets out of this.
Yeah, I think. Thank you so much. And it didn't occur to me until during this discussion, but that's where we find the best stuff. We explore our minds through this open arena that we have here. And for our fans, don't forget, you guys can always participate in the conversation. Go to iTunes, give us a review. It only takes a minute, and rate and comment us. Give us 5 stars. And I think we already got 5 stars, right, Martin? But
definitely.
I'm enjoying, getting all the reviews, and tell a friend, because it only takes a minute. And we have tons of feedback from our fans, and some of the feedback I got here, let's see, from our iTunes page. Someone, Montrez, who has been following us, she actually said, we have a caller. I'll get to her in just a quick second. Montrez actually said, 5 stars, a real tearjerker. This episode brought me back to the Varro episode. It was so sad. I cried. Crassus should have listened to Spartacus. And what the hell is up with Tiberius just going around raping people? I can't wait to hear what you guys thought of the show. Well, we're talking about it right now, Montrez. Anyway, let's get to our caller real fast. Caller, you're on the air with AFTERBUZZ TV. Where are you calling from, and what's your name, and what's your question? Hello?
Hello, this is Dare.
Hi. What's your question?
I just wanted to call in and comment on the Spartacus review show.
Sure. Go ahead. What did you want to comment on in particular?
Oh, everything. Oh my God, Crix's death. I couldn't believe it. Oh my God, Sean, I talk to you all the time on Twitter.
Oh, what's your
username? Old Midnight Love.
Ovi Night Love. Oh yeah, that's right. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to actually be able to talk to you over the phone.
Oh my God, I've been trying to call. Like, been a little busy. His death.
Yeah,
oh my God,
yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was just so.
I know.
I could not stop crying.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I was actually, I wasn't crying so much during Crixus's death. It was really sad. And, you know, I was more disappointed in how he died because, like I said with our last caller, he did not deserve to get killed by Tiberius. And maybe that's what's going to make it the best vengeance. Maybe we're going to see Tiberius.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I think you tweeted that at me, right? That's probably going to be the best thing that's going to come out of all this is that we get to see Tiberius get his comeuppings later on.
Yeah, because we know it couldn't have been Caesar because Caesar doesn't die, you know?
Yeah,
Caesar doesn't die this, you know?
Yeah,
so
that's right.
I'm sad, but I understand.
How did you feel?
And I think, what are you saying?
If I could interject, how did you feel about all the characters saying their goodbyes this episode?
Oh my God, I was crying. I was just like, I know this is the end. It foreshadowed it so much. Especially in the beginning, and him and Navia having their talks, and I think Navia might even be pregnant.
Oh my gosh!
I think that's why she was looking at that baby like that, because I think she figured that she could never have that life.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I did see Navia,
and I thought she was going to end up getting killed right after they killed him or before.
Yeah, well, thankfully, I think you tweeted at me and you said something. Yeah, you did say Navia may be preggers. That's really funny here on your tweet. Well, thank you so much for your call, Derry, and we hope to keep the conversation going with you on Twitter.
Yeah. So, all right, I had to call in.
Okay.
Thanks for taking my call.
Oh yeah, of course. Thank you.
Mm.
So yeah, I actually I caught that where she actually. Regarding what you were talking about there, we actually had, what was it? I took some notes down about that scene where Navia is looking over at that freshly born baby, and it was like she wanted that life in a way. Like even though she had to try to fight for her freedom, obviously, and she was constantly fighting after being abused and misused so much by the Romans, she kind of wishes and has a longing for another life. And maybe that's what her goal is. Maybe that she wants to send more Romans to the afterlife, like she said, but perhaps she was, still a part of her wishes that she had it differently. Maybe that she wasn't there. Maybe she wanted to escape, but she still ended up going with Crassus. So back to what's going on with the episode. Okay, so Crassus, he beat the crap out of Metellus, and it showed how much he was losing control. Additionally, we see that the rebels are constantly on the run, and how much of their army has fallen, which is a really good question.
I don't know. Like, I don't know how many legions they have left, and when they came down on Crassus, though, and all those guys in the valley, it still looked like they had a crap load of men, though. So I don't know how much Spartacus has necessarily made a dent in his army.
No, yeah, but it just looks like their army is so massive still. Like
it's huge.
According to history, it's got to be like almost in the tens of thousands. I would say like between 8,000 and 10,000 at this point.
And how big was the slave army?
Oh, that was the slave army that I was talking about.
Oh, it was?
Yeah, Spartacus's army, yeah.
So the legions have to be...
The legion's got to be way huger.
Probably 10 times that. I mean, I would assume.
I wouldn't say 10 times. I would say maybe like between 2 and 4 times the amount, judging by the numbers and how well organized they were.
Yeah, that's true.
But ultimately, when everybody's fighting in those, battles, man, it just comes down to getting at the front lines, and it's almost like they're waiting their turn sometimes. To take a stab at the enemy. Yeah. Which is it's pretty insane. So it was really funny also how there was a lot more not a lot, but a little bit of flirtation again between Castus, the pirate, and Nasir. But you see that Nasir is like saying, hey, take your mind from that. I don't want you to, flirt with me too much. I'm just helping you out because, you're a comrade to me, and that's it. And Agron, a little bit later, he talks with Laeta, and he reveals that Spartacus likes her. And I thought... And she was shocked, and I was kind of shocked that he said it so plainly. Yeah, he put him on blast like that. I was like, hey, Agron, bro code. Don't say that. Yeah, bro code. By modern standards, we got the bro code. Yeah, but, maybe. Yeah, but back then... There's a guy code back then, probably. There was a little bit back then. But you know what? I feel like back then, especially in this like episode, dude, they feel like they're going to die. And that was like their last night together, so why not? Oh, yeah, for sure. Why not? A little bit later, Sparty ends up spotting Kore's tattoo mark, which indicates she is owned by Marcus Crassus. And he pities her, though, after he hears the story of her being raped by Tiberius. And he doesn't get the full details, but he's like, you know what, we're not going to turn anybody away. Let's go ahead and keep her here. And then and Agron makes a really good point, and he says, oh, well, then she's free to be here and starve with the rest of us. And it was such a great contrast, actually, between that scene and their fade into the next scene, because it shows Tiberius and the Roman commanders eating and feasting. And it's just 3 guys, and they had this like huge, was it a turkey or chicken or beef? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it looked good. Yeah, and then Caesar walks in, and he's kind of like, wait, how come I didn't get invited to this meal? Yeah, exactly. He had that look on his face. Yeah, that's right, Martin. He interrupts the meal, and he says that he's really just concerned with how Crassus's behavior has changed so much, and he threatens to tell Crassus about Tiberius's indiscretions with Kore. And even though he doesn't know exactly what's going on, but by the end of the conversation, he pretty much knew that she got raped by Tiberius, because just the way that Tiberius reacted to it, it was a dead giveaway, and Caesar's poker face was impeccable. So afterwards, there's a very nice conversation with Naevia and Crixus, and it was a really endearing scene, I must say, where they end up sharing with each other like how much they feel that they're like bound by blood now. And she looks upon that new babe, like I was talking about, and it seems like she's wishing for a different life. Later on, Spartacus, he proposes that the forces separate and divide, and that I think they want to confuse Crassus in a way and divide Crassus's army, because Crassus is obviously strong. He's got tons of money. He's got strategy. He knows the way Spartacus thinks. Didn't they want to separate it so that the women and children could kind of slip away, and so that maybe he would focus on the army that was moving towards Rome or something like that? Didn't Spartacus want him to draw him away from the women and children? Yeah, I think you're right about that too. That's another good perspective there, Martin. They did say that Spartacus's army contained more men and women in it. And what's actually interesting is I was reading online that even though Spartacus's army historically was huge, it contained like 8,000 to 9,000 people. Many of them were non-combatants. They were, there were women and children among them. It's like, how could, imagine if there's one strong guy and he's got a family with him, that's like a 1-to-3 or 1-to-5 ratio, where it's like, okay, out of these 5 people is a strong combatant. Right, and so everyone was just kind of like, well, I guess I got to fight. Yeah, there's not enough men. Exactly, and we even saw that actually in the beginning fight scene, where there was like a new blonde rebel chick fighting alongside them. Yeah, I did notice that. That was pretty interesting. I want to know who she is. So anyway, that scene where there was a scene later on where they're talking, where Spartacus and Crixus are talking about dividing, and it was really emotional actually, because Spartacus, he was, I kind of had like almost tears welling up in my eye during that scene, and it was it was actually during Crixus's monologue near the end of that scene where he was saying, he's had such good quotes, and I want to talk about my quotes in a little bit. But and my heart was just shuddering when he was talking about that stuff.
About how they weren't brothers, and maybe they were brothers in a different life, and he's like, that life is this life. And I was like, oh, God.
Oh, yeah, that was actually a little bit later.
Oh, yeah.
But we're actually kind of running out of time here because I really want to get Barry Duffield on. Yeah, I really want to get to our guest list. So let me just wrap up pretty much. So let's talk about Tiberius and Caesar. Oh, my goodness. So Caesar ends up pretty much getting raped by Tiberius, and it's a way for him to keep his mouth shut because there's no way now that Caesar is going to be able to tell anybody about what's going on with Corey, with her leaving, with wanting to influence Crassus to like bring the fight to Spartacus better. There's no way, and now he's on foot. And he was ordered into battle on foot, and he can't say anything. He's just tight-lipped the whole time.
Can't sit on a horse.
He can't sit on a horse, and I thought that was really interesting. And I thought it was interesting, too, how during this episode, Tiberius attacked 2 men from behind on 3 different occasions.
Yeah, with his spear.
With his
right, with his little, yeah.
With his tiny spear and with his long spear during the battle.
He got Agron. Didn't he get Agron, and did he get Crixus too?
He got 3 different guys.
He got Agron. Remember when Agron was going to fight Caesar?
That's right. He got 3 different guys. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I hate Tiberius, that little crap.
Yeah, I know. He's a bitch.
Anyway, it was so shocking, and let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit to the end. So pretty much, surely, it was a nice touch how they didn't show Crixus like simply beheaded, and how they showed it in Naevia's eyes. And I thought that was a little bit better of a touch. And, of course, with the special effects, they're not going to make his head look the best. It's never going to look perfect when it's coming off his head. And it would be a little bit gory because we love that main character. He was like one of the commanders, the generals. We've seen him since season 1, season 0, all the way to now grow and change from nothing, from a common slave to a gladiator to a brother, someone contesting Spartacus at all, at many different events. And now he was able to lead his own army, and he had a good ride, he had a good fight, he had a good story, but unfortunately he has passed now.
Yeah, I didn't like the way that he died, but I thought it was filmed so cool, the way that you saw it through Naevia's eyes, like the reflection in her eyes. I was like, oh, that was really cool to see it like that, but it was not cool to see Crixus get bad.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to talk about more of my quotes later on if I have time. I just have so many. I want to talk about maybe 2 right now, but after I talk about 2 of these, let's go ahead and bring in our caller, Barry Duffield from New Zealand. So my favorite quotes here for this episode: "You overstep, Tribune, many times each day, but not on this." And that was an exchange between Tiberius and Caesar about him raping Corey, possibly. Caesar had not known until that moment, perhaps. And another quote from Caesar. The Romans have good quotes, and so do the rebels, but this is a good one I got from Caesar's mouth. "Crixus, a man of equal skill and deadlier passion." It shows his fear for Crixus. And I thought it was just well done quotes this episode.
Was that from Caesar?
That was from Caesar.
Yeah, see, it shows that, like, because Caesar's a good fighter too. And it shows that he, Crixus should be respected.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, let's go ahead and play that little clip, Martin, of our of Barry Duffield's reel.
The man that killed Zerlus is great warrior, and Lugo follow.
Lugo! Nasir, you will face them.
We win if you keep out of way, little man.
Don't fucking call me that!
We lose. But little man, fight like giant! From my experience, people who cause the death of an innocent young woman feel some remorse.
And you think I don't? Morgan would.
So, Martin, do we got Barry on the line? We got him on via Skype yet?
It is ringing. We're almost there.
It's a ringing. All right,
It's
okay.
a ringing.
All right, sorry, we're a little, just a tad bit late on calling him, but hopefully he answers. Anyway, I do have a few other quotes to go ahead and talk about since he's not on yet. But
Hello.
Barry.
Speaking.
All right, Barry. So glad to have you on the show. Everybody, this is Barry Duffield speaking with us via Skype from New Zealand. He's joining us here at AFTERBUZZTV.com to talk about his character Lugo. Barry, I'm Sean Overman, Sean O, if you'd like, and I am so glad to have you on our show. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm glad to be here, Sean.
All right. I almost wanted to, before you were on, I was half tempted to imitate your character Lugo. Do you mind if I try?
Yeah, give it a shot.
Why does Lugo not have sword and little man have sword, huh?
Now try Lugo.
Nice. I gave it a good shot, right? Yeah? The good old college
why does
try.
Lugo not have sword and little man does?
Yeah, there you go. See, man.
Try it in German.
Oh, I can't. There's no way. I don't speak German. So wait, now, since you're jumping into German stuff, do you speak German fluently?
No, hell no.
So how do you...
I have trouble with English.
So how do you prepare for each of these lines where Lugo ends up speaking in German?
They send them to us as sound files, and we listen to the sound file and we just do it by rote.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool, man.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, most of it is not stuff that you would say in front of your mother.
Oh, all right. Understood. Yeah, so I was actually...
One of my favorite lines, Sean, had to be, "Das du dich selbst in den Arsch fixed."
And what was that?
In English?
Yes.
He said you fuck yourself in your own ass.
Oh, wow. Very cool, man. Very cool. So we have so much to talk about with you. So you know what? Your German must be better than Ellen Holman's, because I've gotten so many complaints on our YouTube channel and our fans about Ellen Holman's stuff. So that I'm so glad that you're able to do that by rote, and it sounds good and people are impressed by it.
And you know, Ellen's a German speaker. She's a natural German speaker, and I was in awe of her.
Oh, really? Oh, so she's a natural German speaker. Okay. All right, very cool. So you're one of the most fit guys on Spartacus. So tell me about your guys' daily routine.
Now, mine was different because I was a competition bodybuilder from the age of 23. So I was probably one of the only guys that didn't have to have their abs shadowed in.
Oh, wow.
But I did join in boot camp with the others for the first month before we started shooting. But that was more about team bonding. You know, so we all got to know each other and we all got to work with each other and we all got to be in pain together.
Understood. Wow. So out of all the exercises you guys got going on during the gladiator camps, what's your favorite exercise? Favorite?
That's a trick question, isn't it? My favorite. I don't know if I actually had a favorite. I hated them all. I'm a weights guy, you know. I like to do that 6 to 12 repetitions. This stuff was just driving us over and over and over again. I can tell you what I hated.
What did you hate?
I absolutely hated 10 to 2s.
10 to 2s, like working from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.?
No, 10 to 2 is where they'll set up a station of 10 different exercises. And in those 10 exercises, you do 10 reps, and then you run back to the other end, you do 9 reps, 8 reps, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh. And then at 2, they say, okay, now go and do the 10 again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was killer. I can honestly say that at the end of those days, they poured me out of the gym.
Oh, wow. So that was pretty much the most difficult one for you to do, right? Doing those 10 to 2s. Wow.
Yeah, they were hard for everyone, man. I'll tell you honestly, you talk to any of the other cast and they'll say the same thing. 10 to 2s were hell.
Wow, that's interesting, man. I haven't been working out as much as I want to. You know, Spartacus has inspired me to work out more, though. But I want to know what you eat and consume while you're on set and when you're training all day with the other cast members, and contrast that with how you would normally eat. Like, how would you normally eat when you're doing your bodybuilding stuff?
You know, nothing really changed for me. It was pretty much the same regime. I carried everything to set with me. The only thing that changed for me is I discovered paleo a couple of years back, and I've probably never been so lean as I have doing that.
Oh, the paleo diet.
Yeah.
Oh, I try to do paleo as much as possible. I think I'm at like 70% compliance.
Yeah, I'm around 90, but and it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what? I have so much more energy every day. Like this morning, you know, oh, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. You talk, Barry.
No, man, it was cool. It was exactly what you just said. I went, snap, brother. You just nailed it. It was exactly that. I've never had so much energy. You just took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah, it feels like, you know, I have like a couple eggs in the morning, a banana, a bowl of berries, and that's so much better than putting wheat in your body, which ends up making you more tired later on. I notice a big energy difference between the two types of diets, you know, conventional versus the paleo. Anyway, how did you...
The same.
Oh, yeah. So how did you come up with the voice for Lugo?
Honestly, what I didn't want to do, I didn't want him to have him sound like Sergeant Schultz. You know, the German accent where he does this for his language. And I just couldn't see myself doing that. Or someone said to me, why don't you try and do an Arnold imitation? And I thought, oh my God, no, anything but that. So I did my research on the history of the tribes, the Germanic tribes back in 73 BC. And these guys were all over the place. You know, they were Macedonia, they were spread all over Europe. So I thought I wanted Lugo to sound less regional, but more European and less German. When he spoke German, you knew he was German, but even the German that we speak is still steeped in that history. It's still, you know, it's not the German you hear today.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. It sounds really barbaric, but I do catch on some of the German words that I know of, and it's a treat to hear you speaking German along with your cool Germanic accent with the English or common tongue that you speak on the show.
Yeah, we had a few heated discussions about changing that so that Lugo would sound more like the others, and I honestly thought that would take away from his character, so I was dead opposed to it. Although, you know, it's funny enough, you don't get to hear a whole lot of Lugo this season, but that's because there are so many different characters who've been introduced, you know, so many different storylines that are getting woven through this. We were competing for screen time without a doubt.
That's funny that you bring that up because I was looking for you so much this episode, and I did see you in I think 3 or 4 scenes. Namely, I saw you walking around in the forest, but I don't want to talk about that scene. I want to talk about the scene where you're partying and drinking for Crassus's going away party, and you end up walking into a spa filled with beautiful women while you're drunk.
8 women. 8. You try going home explaining that to your wife.
So how difficult is that scene to do? Tell me what the processes are, like what's going on behind the scenes, like how do you guys set that scene up, and like, you know, what's going through your mind when you're doing it?
What's going through your mind? That's an interesting question too. Honestly, on the day, TJ Scott, the director of this episode, and TJ is just a genius. I don't know if you guys noticed, but his palette is so rich.
Oh yeah, if I could interrupt you really quick. TJ Scott, he's the one that did the in the tub photo shoot with you guys, right?
That's right.
Oh yeah, so go back to the episode, please.
TJ has an amazing eye for what he wants in the frame, and the colors are so rich and vibrant. You know, no matter how violent it gets, it's still beautiful. You're just so drawn into how much he puts in there. He just weaves this frame that just... he's one of my favorites. But TJ came up to us on the day and he said, listen, I have one directional comment for you guys. Make this look like you're fucking. Okay? That's all I want you to do. So I literally sat there with the girls and I said, listen, we need to draw boundaries here because I don't want to spend my day saying, listen, I'm sorry I touched that. I'm sorry you touched this. I'm sorry that happened. And I said, so, you know, where would you like to draw the boundaries? And they said, oh, fuck boundaries. let's just go for this. So we pretty much did. It was probably the closest you're going to get to actually doing it without actually doing it. So what you see on screen was fairly real, but they cut a lot out of it because the action was everything that was happening around it.
Right.
Yeah. So they didn't dwell a whole lot on what we were doing, and it was a little disappointing. But understandable because, you know, look, I know that it's all the drama that's happening around that. Yeah. So how do you prepare for that? I don't know. It was getting out of the tub I had to prepare for it. Leaving the tub, I had to deconstruct a 454 Chevy engine just so I could get out the tub. And that was all in my head, you know, this has got to go there, this has got to go there. And I go, okay, now I can get out of the tub.
Right on, right on. Okay. So what was the role that you auditioned for initially on Spartacus? Was it Lugo?
Yeah, it was Lugo. I remember having a conversation with my agent because, the first and foremost, I was a huge fan of Spartacus. I loved the work of Andy Whitfield, and I'd wanted, this was the type of show that physically, for my physicality, that I suited. So I really felt this urge to get on, and I spoke to a friend who was a director on the show, and he said to me, you know what? You're just not going to get on to season 1 because you'd be the second oldest gladiator in history. So that kind of shattered my hopes a little bit. But season 2 had opened up. When season 2 opened and they escaped from the Ludus, it opened up for everybody and anybody. Yeah, so then, you know what? I'm literally, I think I was the eldest actor on War of the Damned.
Wow. You know what? I think you're right, and I must say, you do not. I did a little bit of research. I don't want to say your age, but dude, you do not look like your age, Barry. You look amazing, man. You seriously look like you're 20 years younger than you are.
Then 30.
Then 30. Let's do 30. Yeah, you look like that. Right on. So, how did you get started with acting in general?
In 1988, I got my first commercial, but that was the first time I'd ever got on screen. I was one of those kids that grew up in a theater. All I ever wanted to do was write or be in films, anything and everything to do with it. I literally got caught at my theater in the Northern Territory stealing movie posters from the foyer by the manager. And the manager said to me, I'll give you 3 choices here, kid. 1, I'll call the police. 2, I'll call your parents. Or 3, you can work for what you're stealing. And he gave me the opportunity to learn how to run the projectors and splice film. And these were the days when they had the old 35mm hand-fed projectors.
Oh, yeah.
So, I was well and truly a real cinephile back in those days, but I was just lucky enough that I got caught by this guy that fed that passion. And I spent the last 2 years trying to find him again just to say thank you.
Wow. That's quite the story. So, so we already talked about what attracted you to Spartacus pretty much and how you got into that. On the show, who has been your favorite villain or antagonist?
I loved what Ditch Davy did. Ditch playing Nemetes?
Yes.
There should have been so much more of that because I think Ditch is just a talent to be reckoned with. And I definitely, what was his name? Gosh, that Vengeance, with Vengeance got his head chopped off.
Oh, Asher.
Asher, thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, Asher.
Nick Terabay.
Nick was absolutely brilliant.
Oh, yeah, he was. I was actually at the LA premiere, and I got to watch you guys go up on in front of everybody and talk, and Robert Tappert was talking about each of the characters and how you guys and each of the actors and how you guys had portrayed your certain roles and how important you each were. And he mentioned that Tiberius was going to be Asher-like, or the closest thing to Asher. And there's nobody, I feel, that's going to come close to Asher. But Tiberius is getting there. He's getting pretty close as of this episode when he was raping. He raped Caesar. Who would have saw that coming?
We did, because we saw them rehearsing that just time after time after time after time. It got a little bit ridiculous. You'd be having lunch and those two will be practicing over the lunch table.
Nice. And it looks so serious.
In all honesty, Christian is just amazing, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He really. Sometimes, how about this? Definitely, it's been a roller coaster of emotion for Christian Antidormi and his character, because he went from being this kid that we kind of like, we don't like, we feel like he's a spoiled brat, to losing his friend, and we kind of feel pity, we feel sorry for him, and he's like, okay, well, and we think to ourselves, okay, he's probably going to recover from this, he's going to be a strong leader, he's going to be a good fighter, a good warrior, and he ends up doing all these shisty things again, and then we just hate him even more than we did before.
Yeah, he's a bitter and twisted little youth, isn't he?
Yes.
Which is so far from what Christian is, which makes it so amazing.
Yeah, he looks like a really nice guy. And speaking of which, obviously, it sounds like, you've worked with Christian a lot. Who is your favorite cast member to work with on set?
Oh, hey, so tough again, because I love them all. They all have different traits. Same with the crew, I loved all of the crew. I spent a lot of time talking to Liam. And we would talk in between takes. I really loved Liam. Honestly, I'd say it'd be Liam.
Oh, okay.
Had so much to carry on that show. Yet we would talk, and I would say to him on the occasion, I'd say, listen, man, I've been doing this take, and I'm really crapping myself because, and you go, hey, so do I. And I'm carrying the show, and I spend some of my time being so scared of what I have to do next, and it really it shone a light on the fact that it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, that we all go through the same things. So I love those talks with him.
Very cool. So let's go ahead and move beyond the set of Spartacus. I see that you're doing some fundraising on Indiegogo, and you're fundraising for your graphic novel, Dead Man's Land. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Dead Man's Land is it's a script I started writing 7 years ago. It was optioned in LA for a while, for 3 years, to an LA producer, and it got close, but it didn't quite make it. It's very, very big budget. So I'm trying to get this done by going in through the back door, the same way that Hellboy did, Walking Dead did, by creating a fan base through the graphic novel. So I'm on Indiegogo, which is a crowdfunding website that you just go in and contribute to help with projects that you believe have potential. And it's something I believe in with every fiber of my being.
Yeah, it seems like a really interesting story. I read a little bit of, I guess, the synopsis on the site, and pretty much it takes place during World War II, right? And it's about werewolves.
Yeah, genetically created Nazi werewolves.
That sounds.
One of my favorite lines. He says, "There's an Irish character in it." He says, I can remember the line goes, "There's only one thing worse than a Nazi, and that's a Nazi werewolf."
Oh, very nice. that one's going to be ingrained in media culture. Watch.
No, the one that'll get there, it'll be, "We know not race, color, nor creed. You all taste the same to us." That's the one that'll go.
So speaking of writing, you were talking about doing your script, writing it for several years. What advice would you give to would-be writers or like producers out there?
Another tough question. Just keep plugging away at it, plugging away, and listen to every bit of advice you can get. I think that I threw the first 10 scripts I ever wrote into Ben. I went back and I reread them and went, oh my God, these are crap. I'd be open to everybody's suggestions. It's a collaborative thing. Everybody will have their take on a script. Use what works for you. Listen.
Very cool. Very good advice. So speaking of fundraising stuff, you're doing that Indiegogo thing. If anybody wants to, how can they find it? How can they get to it and contribute to your cause?
It's Indiegogo, and I think that's www.indiegogo, and it's Dead Man's Land completion funding campaign, and all contributions gratefully accepted.
Very cool. And I contributed a little bit.
I saw that, and it was very much appreciated, Sean.
And I definitely, probably in the next couple of weeks, I definitely want to do a little bit more because I want to get that graphic novel when it's completed.
Brother, I hope it gets to a place where I can get to LA and I can put that in your hands, because my end goal is to get back to live in LA. I love that place.
Well, let us know next time you're out here. We'd love to have you at AfterBuzz Studios and interview you, and we'll talk about the show and any projects that you're going to move on to after Spartacus as well.
Be sweet, brother. I'm talking to my agent about coming over there for some of the conventions, so it's on the cards.
So speaking of fundraising stuff, you must have did such a good job raising money for the cancer research with the in the tub photo shoot. So how was that experience, and how is it going so far? Because it's still continuing.
They've just finished. And so just closed on it. I think TJ raised just over $82,000 for it, which was phenomenal, considering he was going after 30. That just gave him the opportunity now to be able to print a lot more pictures, a lot more books, and get a lot more sales for it. But hey, if you haven't seen any of the pictures for it, he is an amazing photographer. But it's him. He's a director. He's got that director's eye, but he's just got something else to him that you can't explain. You just have to see his work, and you just know.
Yeah, I thought I saw the YouTube video. I saw some of the pictures that you were in, some of the other cast members from Spartacus. I must say the women look sensual and sexy, and the men, I wish I was you guys in the tub, posing like that, looking amazing for the camera.
It was a good day, and TJ makes everything so easy. We got to take our own music in with us and crank the sounds up, and I got to take Alfie with me. Alfie's my Labrador.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I saw him in the tub with you.
Yeah, there's a couple there. He looks like he just doesn't want to be there, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's pretty funny stuff. Well, that's good. How long did it take you to do those photo shoots?
We spent about half a day, I think half a day per person.
Very cool. And you guys contributed, like you just contributed your time for free, you know, because this is all the proceeds are going towards cancer research, which is really awesome.
All our time was for free, and I contributed money towards his cause as well. You know, I'm like this. I've got something out there on Indiegogo, and I'm so aware that other people have their projects out there, so I contribute wherever and whenever I can.
Oh, that's excellent. So we're gonna
paying it forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we're gonna wrap it up here with a couple of last questions. What do you do in your off time when you're not doing your acting gigs?
I wait for the next acting gig. Or I write. I'm continually pushing to keep my career moving because my agent's very good. But I'm also pushing for the things that she may not have seen, or, you know, through connections that I have. And I'm continually pushing my scripts. So I've been script writing for 15 years. So I've got 3 movies that are in various stages of development at the moment. So I'm continually just working towards industry-based stuff.
Very cool. What other projects do you have in the future right now that you can talk about and share with us? Give us a little AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
I've got one called Tandoori Apocalypse. It's not over the line yet, so it still has a little way to go. But Tandoori Apocalypse is Shaun of the Dead meets Clerks in Bollywood.
Oh, that sounds interesting. Such an interesting mix.
Totally out there black comedy.
Oh, wow.
With 2 Indian stars, so it's a little different.
Okay, that sounds like it. Well, I'll definitely check that out. And if our fans, of course, watching right now, listening to us on our podcast, if they want to find you, follow you, check out your stuff, Barry, where can they find you best?
They can find me on Twitter, or they can find me on Facebook, and I practically live on Facebook.
And what was your Twitter handle?
Twitter handle is Dream Chaser.
So it's at Dream Chaser?
Yeah. Dream Chaser.
Dream Chaser. Okay, so they can find you on there, and then on Facebook, I'm sure they could just type in the search bar.
In Barry Duffield, it'll come as actor director, and that's my page.
Okay, very cool. Barry, we really appreciate you calling in via Skype and taking the time to talk with us about your awesome character, the most fit guy on the show of Spartacus, Lugo, and about your future projects. Thank you so much, Barry.
Thank you, Sean. But I hope it happens again. I'll talk to you guys if I get to LA.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk to you again sometime, and we'll let you know. I got your contact information, so we'll definitely let you know. Thanks so much, Barry.
9 and 10 coming up soon, so maybe after 10.
Okay. Very cool. Thank you.
Okay, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There you go.
All right, man. So that was Barry Duffield, who plays Lugo on Spartacus. Awesome guy. Great conversation. Let's go ahead and wrap up with our predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Well, I have a number of predictions to go over. Let's go ahead and make this fast. I don't have Spicy Marty here. I miss her. Anyway.
Me too.
So I have a hankering, not a hankering. That's for lack of a better word. I have this prediction. Crassus will have his head delivered with Navia back to the rebel camp. I think that's kind of a little bit obvious, but I'm sure we're going to see it next time. I hope that they don't empty his head out of the bag. They're probably going to be showing like just a sack and maybe the character's responses to it. Then we'll see how that goes. Tiberius will get what's coming to him. This guy is he's either going to get raped himself or he's going to get impaled by something big and long and sharp.
A little bit of both, maybe.
And I feel like he will die at either a Roman hand, namely Caesar's, or be trapped into like some kind of fool's errand where it's going to be in response to Caesar's will. Like Caesar is going to do something, set some kind of chain of events in motion that's going to get Tiberius slaughtered. Please let this happen. And lastly, I feel like it looks like Spartacus is going to have his own gladiatorial fights, and he's going to use Romans, obviously, but that's what we saw in the teaser. However, I feel like Tiberius may end up there, and he may be one of the guys that are going to be fighting for his life, and we will see him killed in those games. Lastly, we will see Sparty captured next time and crucified by the next episode 10 following that. I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, so I think that's about it for me. Well, thank you guys, you fans, followers that tweeted at me. I wish I could have got to all of your guys' stuff. I have so many tweets from OS_midnight_love that I want to talk about. We got to have her on the show. Thank you so much for joining us here. And Sasha Montrez at loveandlibra_. Fedor Sadiri, Alan Ivanik at Crowboy82. Thanks for tweeting at me. At boy_Marvel, at free_spirit_mom. Thank you guys so much for tweeting at me. I'm gonna read your guys' tweets next week out if I have chances. And other than that, you can find me at Sean Austin O on Twitter. You can also follow me on Instagram at it's Sean O. And other than that, we'll go ahead and talk to you guys, I think, in 2 weeks, because Spartacus may be off next week.
Yeah, it is. I saw that. So 2 weeks.
Sad face, man. I'll be missing you guys, but we'll be buzzing with you in 2 weeks.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.